How will the England players be feeling right now ahead of the tournament?
I think they've got to feel really excited. If you go on the basis of the last 3 tournaments, 2018 to obviously 2020, they've done really, really well. Obviously disappointed losing against the Italians in penalties, but yeah, I think they've got to be really excited. And look at the kind of young blood that's come into the squad. It's exciting times for England.
It is. It's exciting times for Scotland as well, Ali. They've actually made the tournament. It's fantastic. You've been working out Scotland's route to the final, which is great for you. How are you feeling?
Oh, just like every other Scottish football fan, Adrian, full of hope and enthusiasm and slightly less expectation. But no, I mean, we qualified for the previous Euros, but this is the first time since '98 that we've kind of gone on the road, if you like. And the guys will have a great time. And I firmly believe that the players will do us proud. I'm a wee bit concerned about the injury situation at this moment in time. It's kind of typical. You know, as I say, we've got a major tournament to look forward to, and we've got some pretty serious injuries to contend with. That said, full of optimism and hope.
He's already making excuses, isn't he?
Exactly.
Got them in early. And Andy, listen, it's wide open this summer, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I think you look at France and England, they're the clear favourites, but they've both got holes in them, it's fair to say. There's no unbeatable team in there. And obviously people want to believe Germany because they're at home, they're a tournament team. They're not the team they have been in previous tournaments, but maybe having a slight uptick under Julian Nagelsmann.
Are you putting us off tipping Germany? Is that it?
We'll get
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Let's kick off, though, with England and Gareth Southgate's squad for the tournament, Paul. Some big names have missed out. Let's start with Marcus Rashford, because for some this was a huge shock. What was your take on him being left out?
Yeah, I was really surprised. I really, really was. Only on the basis that when you look at Gareth Southgate, he's always kind of kept the players that he's kind of trusted in his squad, whether they're playing in the first team, whether on the bench, or whether they're not playing at all. You know, we see it with Calvin Phillips, you know, hardly ever played, always put him in the squad. But we're talking about someone like Marcus Rashford and really never really let him down. The other thing that's surprising, when you look at Marcus Rashford compared to all the players that he's picked, Rashford for me is the only one who can go over the top. He's the only one. If you think about Kane's now start to come deep, you know, like Maddison wants the ball at his feet. You look at Rashford, he's moving behind people. And I heard Ali talking about it last night during the game about, you know, people getting in behind defenders, stretching defenders to allow the likes of Foden and that to play football. And I think he's the only one really who can actually do that. Maybe Gordon to a certain extent. But it was a big shock for me, Adrian, very much so.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are supposed to the pace thing, isn't it? Because there's not many England players with pace, Ali.
No, I get it, but the only thing I would say, Adrian, on it, I don't think it deserves to be there on current form, And Paul's 100% right. Gareth, a lot of people would maybe criticise and say, you know, he's got a safe pair of hands. He'll go with play Maguire, he'll keep boys in his squad, whether it's Phillips and Rashford, who haven't let him down, right? I get that. But the problem I think Marcus Rashford has had, not only has his form not been good enough, and it hasn't, guys, but on top of that, there's other people who have been excellent. Excellent. Anthony Gordon's one of them. Yeah, you want to talk about Cole Palmer, there's guys who have come in and just, I think, overtaken Marcus Rashford. I take the point that where I thought he might include him in the squad was the fact if he took 2 centre forwards, he could have a potential of maybe playing Rashford through the middle.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But once he went with Watkins, Tony and Kane, it wasn't really a massive surprise or a shock to me, Adrian, to be honest with you.
I think, Andy, there's other high-profile omissions as well. Jordan Henderson was left out. I think a lot of people thought Gareth would stick with him as a problem at left-back. Ben Chilwell, Raheem Sterling is out as well, another one with pace. So Gareth Southgate been quite bold.
Yeah, and I think the lads are right. It's just international coaches, and it's not just Gareth Southgate, are inherently conservative. They want to stick with the guys who they trust at tournaments. So club form's important to a point, but it's not the be-all and end-all. I guess Jordan Henderson is in the same bracket as Calvin Phillips. He's played himself into a situation, particularly in the last 6 months, where it's impossible to pick him in terms of form and fitness, which is a shame. And I don't think Gareth Southgate will have done that lightly. I guess Raheem Sterling is really the one that stands out because he's not had an amazing season, but he's not had a terrible one either. If we talk about those other players, he's had a better season comparatively than any of those. And of course, he's a big moment player for England. So I guess there's this sort of vacuum, and maybe it's Phil Foden, maybe it's Jude Bellingham, for someone to step up and be that big moment player for England. Yeah, it's not Harry Kane.
I also remember, just going back to Euro 96, Ali,
Yep.
you know, with Alan Shearer. He was bang out of form in the league, you know what I mean? Really bang out of form. And, you know, everyone was saying, should he play, should he not play? Ended up being the top goal scorer in the tournament.
Scored for England for, 8 or 10 games, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay, so, you know, it's not all about form this season.
Let's talk about midfield, Paul. That's where you shone. So England's
I should be playing,
midfield.
definitely I should be playing.
Did you not get the call? You had your phone off,
I was on the
obviously.
golf course.
How should we line up in that midfield? Because you look at it, Declan Rice has been playing attacking.
Yes.
Jude Bellingham's been a number 10 for a lot of the season. Phil Foden might be the attacking midfielder, and that number 10 that England craves. So what should that lineup in midfield be?
It depends to how, you know, Andy spoke about it just now about being cautious. I mean, the first game, you want to take something from the first game. So does he go with 2 6s in there and plays Bellingham in front of the 2 6s? Or does he go attacking with the last 2 days? He wants to go attacking football. He said he's going to go attacking football. I mean, he could have said that 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not sure why we're going to do it now, but maybe he's got the personnel to do it. I think Declan Rice has been fantastic for Arsenal, being more advanced, but for me, he's a holding midfield. I trust him now. You know, you've got Manu who's still only young, but I do trust Declan Rice there. So I think the first game, you want to get points on the board. So I think he's going to go with Manu, even though we spoke about it, didn't we, before? I don't think it's the right thing.
You wouldn't, but you'd think
I would go with Declan Rice, and I'll have Foden and Bellingham. That would be mine.
Ali?
I can't, just exactly what he said there. So the one thing he can't do, he absolutely cannot play 2 sitters and one of them is Bellingham. He would get absolutely crucified for that. The season that Bellingham's had, guys, he's been absolutely out of this world. You could argue, as Ince said, the Declan Rice performances for Arsenal have been actually better slightly in a forward position as well, whether towards the end it's Partey sitting or Jorginho, whatever it may be. But Declan will be I think would be the one that would sit. And to get England's best strength is clearly middle to front. And you don't go totally disregard it. Of course you don't. But it makes sense to get your better attacking players on the pitch if you can. And I do think it makes sense to have one holder in Rice and have a Bellingham and a Foden and Kane, and if you go Saka, Palmer or whatever you go. But, you know, this season, the one uncertainty that's in the team now is Phil Foden. Make no mistake about that. You have to find a position more central for him. I mean, he's been brilliant for City, and whether he starts coming off the right or come off left, come off the right, he does his best work in a more central role, and he's been absolutely excellent. So if you're asking me what I would do with the England team, it's amazing. I'd say this, I'd play Declan, I'd play Foden, Bellingham, and you've got your 3 up front. But just to cover it defensively, I would really throw caution with my fullbacks, and I wouldn't let them go as forward as just as much. I think Kyle Walker could do that, honestly, and I would contemplate, depending on how the fitness is, your left fullbacks, because it is a dilemma, I would think, for Southgate. I'm thinking about it, I wouldn't be adverse to play 3 centre-backs. I mean, we've seen Pep play 4 centre-backs in the back 4.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I wouldn't be adverse to playing 3 centre-backs if you could get one of your centre-backs comfortable in the left-back position, and then you're almost guaranteed that he's going to sit and protect. So you maybe only need the one sitter.
Well, I mean, it's fine to play fast and loose with other people's money, isn't it? Scottish perspective.
It's just trying to get us beaten, yeah. It's trying to get us beat.
Nice and open. I think that the thing is, what both of the fellas have said about Declan Rice, how he's been, if not the best player in the Premier League, really close in that more advanced position. I think ideally you want to get the best out of your best players. And because Rice is going to be off the leash now and then, okay, you want him to sit. You need a bit of security with him. And for that reason, I think Manu has to play. It's not about your best 11 players. It's about balance. I think that's really important. And Manu, even if he's inexperienced, he's relatively mature. I think you've got that bit of extra security. And really, you want to let the front 4 who pick themselves, if it's Kane, Saka, Bellingham, Foden, you want to allow them a bit of freedom. You want to allow them to interchange. So if you've got that bit of protection, and especially with the defensive personnel issues that England have got, I think you need that little bit of extra security. And Gareth's still Gareth.
Yeah. Yeah,
Funny one. I'm not sure Manu's.
No, no, my.
Well, I was going to ask Paul, what is your reluctance with Manu?
Well, listen, like most people, when someone comes in and does well for a team, especially a struggling team like United, we go a little bit over the top. You know, he's coming, he's done okay. He's a young kid, he's learning his trade. You're talking about throwing him into like a European big, massive tournament, And what people don't understand, it's okay playing England friendlies. You know what I mean? When it comes to tournament football, it's a completely different concept. I'm telling you that now. And I've watched Mano since he's come on, and yet he's been brilliant. I've also watched him sometimes with his recovery runs, and he can't get back. He cannot get back. And that would be a problem for me. And I know what you say, Gareth is quite pragmatic. You know, it will be the first couple of games because he doesn't want to lose. But for me, this is his last race, so just go and play. Go and play. I won't put, maybe we could put Trent in there. Maybe that's the answer, because Trent can obviously, with his passing ability, he can hit those balls and he's defensively right. Mainly for me, not the answer.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.